Alright, back here for Game 2 of this round of 16 matchup in HoN Tour Season 3 Gold Cycle 3 between Dawn and Telechubbies. Dawn taking Game 1 in just over half an hour and looking pretty good while doing it. Basically, Telechubbies had a decent enough idea, I think, and they laned that pretty well. They just really couldn't execute. I mean, their laning phase went kind of badly. They didn't do as well in all three lanes as they should have. Their tri-lane didn't really win against a pseudo tri-lane. Their bubbles lost mid pretty badly, and their silhouette won top, but just barely against a Pharaoh who she should have crushed. And as a result, Dawn decided we've been given a gift, and we will not waste it. They basically played a more or less flawless game. Not flawless, but it was about as good as you can do, I think, under the circumstances, and took a much-deserved win. So, I mean, if you let a team like Dawn have an opening like that, they're gonna roll over you. You can't, make significant mistakes early on because they're not gonna counter with, oh, we screwed this up and we screwed that up, and we're gonna let you right back into this game. And as a result, Dawn is up 1-0, looking for a series sweep. Telechubbies trying to tie it up so they can go to a game 3 and not drop to the losers bracket this early on. This is the round of 16, which means that if you lose here, you're in the losers bracket round 1, which makes the possibility of dropping to silver a realistic chance, as of course people who lose in the losers bracket round 1 go to lower division.
Ro16.
And therefore a win here for Dawn means that they are not going to get relegated, but I don't think that they're too concerned about that anyway. The game is going on here. Splock going to ban out Ophelia and Kraken, trying to target Iceland Go-Go on a hero that he likes very much and is very good at. Swiftblade and Cthulhu Flint can get banned out by Labyrinth, realizing he's got second pick here. I can't let them have Cthulhu Flint, most importantly, and Swiftblade as a hero of secondary importance, but that leaves 3 pretty big heroes open, as Parasite, Magnus, and Rhapsody are all on the board, and the Legion side end up with 2 of them in Parasite and Magnus. I think that Dawn still gets the most powerful of the 3 in Rhapsody, as she is pretty far above all the other supports in the game right now. And they still have Tempest open, of course, if they would like to go for the jungle route, which I assume that they will do. Magnus obviously offers a lot of versatility in lane and is just a generally strong hero. And no surprise there, second pick Tempest. But we'll see what they go for the Legion side. They could obviously go support here, or they could go for pretty much anything. I mean, they only have 2 picks, so there's that, but the fact that they've run a jungler is going to open up their draft a little bit more. I can't really run a true tri-lane, but that's about the only thing that's closed off to them at this point, because Magnus can lane in several different places. It's not like they picked Silhouette or Puppet Master where you're like, okay, well, that's going to be a short lane hero, or even a support. It would be Pharaoh, so yet another strong solo hero. And Magnus is a good solo hero, but also can be dual lane, of course, so not giving too much away, and I'm liking the beginning of this draft on the Legion side. There's a lot of initiation potential, and a good amount of burst magic from Parasite, very good AoE ultimate from Magnus, and the only concern I have really at this point is that they are triple melee, and that's a 3 melee core so far. Hopefully that means later on they'll be picking up a ranged carry so they don't go for a 4 melee core, because that would be really bad, I feel like. It's much more difficult to position yourself, and especially with a Pharaoh on the team, if the mummy walls are not very good, then they can screw you up pretty badly in team fights. They could also help you a lot, I guess, if they trap somebody in with like 3 melee heroes, then that'd be great, but the risk-reward is much higher on, or much more extreme, I guess, with the Pharaoh and a bunch of melee heroes. And Pharaoh is obviously a counterpick to Tempest as well, as his ultimate stops Tempest's ultimate, so Pharaoh definitely picked up in order to counter that Tempest, but not a bad hero in his own right, so it's not like that's all he's going to do this game. Bubbles also selected, so that's going to prevent the Legion side from picking it up, I think, more than anything. It does go well with this team, but Bubbles would be a great counter to both Rhapsody and Tempest as well. And of course, there's another solo hero, which means that would give the Legion side 2 powerful solos in Pharaoh and Bubbles, both of whom can go mid or suicide, which would make their lanes a little bit tougher to determine. And that's definitely something that you're looking for when it comes to how you're going to lane it, how you're going to draft it, that sort of thing. Legion side going to target Strength Initiators, it looks like, with their bans, as Pebbles is the first one off the board. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like Devour removed, maybe Meraxis, Gauntlet, Prisoner. Obviously the hooks are real. there. And Hellborn, assuming they run the bubble Suicide, which is not really a safe assumption. It's a probable assumption, I think, but it's not a guarantee by any means. They would be looking for a mid-hero, and it wouldn't be surprising if they went for something like that, Pebbles or another Strength Initiator type. But instead, they're going to change things up on the Legion side and go for the Madman second ban. Hellborn seem to have lined in, or zoned in on the idea that they're going to ban out some supports. Torturer, Empath, and Glacius going to finish off their bans. So they've got their support in Rhapsody, they have a Tempest, they don't need any more supports. Legion side have a Parasite, so they need just the one. But they will not be able to use any of Torturer, Empath, or Glacius, all of whom I think would have fit this team quite well. Empath perhaps the least, so depending on what hard carry they pick, of course, if they even pick a hard carry. But just a powerful support in her own right, so not a bad hero to ban out in general. And they're still picking a Nighthound here, which I don't think would work. I really hope they don't do it. Please don't pick Nighthound. Especially if you're gonna pick Nighthound, don't do it now. That needs to be your last pick, because you can counter Nighthound. And look at the Andro, which is curious. Again, the Engineer is on the board. Engineer Magnus is such a powerful lane, and that's going to give something away, sure, but Andromeda Magnus is only an okay lane. Andromeda has some serious issues in the laning phase because of her short range. She cannot harass people out. Her stun is single target, it costs a lot of mana, and she does not have a very large mana pool. The swap is also going to counter the Tempest ultimate, so perhaps their thinking is we just need to counter as many of these ultimates as possible, especially Rhapsody as well. So they can use the Wrath of the Pharaoh and the swap to counter a couple of very, very big and important ultimates. I just don't feel like Rhapsody or Andromeda is enough to do that, because Rhapsody isn't just an ultimate, and if you're going to use Andromeda entirely to counter one spell from Rhapsody, then you're trading a hero for a spell. Seems like a bad plan, because there's 3 other spells on the other hero that you're trading for, but I don't know.
Moon Queen.
Moon Queen will in fact be their 4th core, so well, the question is, how do they lane this now? Do they go solo mid Magnus and Suicide? As far as suiciding, that's pretty guaranteed. Do they dual lane mid or short is the question. Moon Queen could probably use some help, especially because they can man up in the long lane with Rhapsody and Drunken Master and try to shut her down. It's going to be very difficult to counter because MQ has such short range and Drunken Master has stagger to get in there, and yeah, that's what they're going to do. So I'm expecting to see a long lane Drunken here. And Dev going to be mid. Yeah, Bubbles going to be played by Probusk. So it's going to be short lane Bubbles, long lane Drunken Master Rhapsody, and a mid Devourer. And I'm really not sure about the Moon Queen pick. I love Moon Queen, and I think she needs to be played more often. But in this particular game, I don't know if she's really the best choice. She has issues in lane. And Andromeda is not going to make up for those problems. Like, if you want to short lane a Moon Queen, which is what you do want to do here, you need to have a better babysit support than Andro. Because that lane is just going to die. Like, between Drunken Master and Rhapsody, it's not going to go well. I just see Labyrinth heading down to the bottom lane, so maybe I'm wrong on this call. Probusk looks like he's going mid, and it's going to be a top lane Drunken and Rhapsody with a Suicide Dev? Is that what's happening here? I think they intentionally... Oh, they switched some stuff up at the last minute, actually, as Okami is now in the bubbles and Probusk is on the Drunken Master. So, Probusk, I guess, going to be in the short lane, and Okami going to be mid? Or is he going to be Suicide? Kind of hard to tell what they're going to do at this point, which obviously is good for them. Parasite going to go for the early Blood Chalice. And keeps 128 gold here in case he needs a Rev Ward to unblock a camp. Nice to see that. Pharaoh will be suiciding, as he's gone for the heavy regen build, 6 tangos, a health pot, and a mana pot. Andromeda and Moon Queen presumably going to be in the bottom lane. And Tempest's going to get spotted here by Parasite, but nothing that he can really do. Obviously has no stun, and needs Infest level 1. Can't go for Leech, so Tempest is no real danger. So I'm curious to see where Andro goes. She has gone for mana pots, 2 of them in fact, on top of 3 runes, which makes me think she's going to go middle. And it looks like that's what's going to happen. No? Yes? I would assume with the mana pot she's going to be a little bit more aggressive, but no, she is in fact going to go to the bottom lane, and we'll be dual laning there with the Moon Queen, which is the right thing. Yes, I'm live. Anyway. It's going to be a suicide. And we'll see how Dev does. Like, I don't think we've really seen too much true Suicide Devourer. And it's not going to be. Okay, Rhapsody is going to be down here. And that's pretty much what I expected more. Actually, Moon Queen going to put the Moonbeam on the wrong target right there. And we'll be able to get the Rot in. Yep, he gets back in there. Got blocked off a little bit, but the Rot doing just enough damage. Moonbeam not doing quite enough to Devour to back him off. Obviously missed the first time. And, yeah, Andro, not really what you're looking for. Dev has Hook, and we'll get the Moon Queen back in, and she's gonna die. Yep. Devour gonna barely survive here. Here comes Parasite with Catman Champion. We'll be able to finish off Labyrinth. Probably should have just tried to deny himself there. I'm not sure if he saw Parasite coming in time to kill himself, but I think he might have had an opening. I don't know if people are just a little bit less willing to try to deny themselves. They feel like they can get away, but I'm not really sure if there was an opening for him there. Easier to say with God Vision, of course. Meantime, Rhapsody comes back, so they get the double tap, and they do lose the Devourer, but they'll take it. I mean, if they can get the Bloodlust on Andro and shut down this Moon Queen, then things are not going to go very well for the Legion side. Obviously, Hellborn has much more mid-game oriented lineup with the Drunken Master, Bubbles, and Devourer combo. And the Legion side looking to take this a little bit later. They want Moon Queen to get farmed if possible. And can be the jump onto Rhapsody. Moonbeam goes out. She has to take the combat stun as well, but she'll be okay. Hook there, probably not even necessary, but Devourer feeling like, might as well keep my buddy safe. And oh, Epic Slacker gonna die in the mid, and once again we can go back here. Nice dive there from Okami. Realizing he had enough damage to do it, and enough mana to pull out both of those spells. Level 3 in Shellsters with level 2 in Song of the Sea. And in this top lane, Drunken Master in the meantime. Probo's currently sitting at 330 GPM, and Mania on the Suicide Pharaoh at 210, so he's not doing bad, but Probo's definitely having a very good time. And anyway, as I was saying, the other thing I hadn't considered as well was both Moon Queen and Andro have very short range in this lane. So neither of them is going to be able to effectively harass Devourer or Rhapsody, especially because Rhapsody has 600 range, so I don't know, man. Like, this is not great. It's kind of a problem, so we'll see if Telechubbies can do anything to pull this game back, but I'm not particularly optimistic. And Andro gonna die once again, puts the Comet Stun down, doesn't really matter. As you go back on the Rhapsody, pick up the last hit with the auto attack, so 4-1, obviously middle lane, not doing very well. Epic Slacker at 225 gold per minute compared to Okami at 300 GPM, getting that kill, very important. But more critically, in this bottom lane, Labyrinth is at 320 gold per minute, and Merkinnon is at just below 200. And what does he do? I mean, short of Parasite ganking every 6 seconds, he just can't do anything. Hellfield dropped onto just the Magnus. Actually, Hasted Pharaoh coming in. Bubbles has Shell Serve, but not enough mana for it, actually. He's going to die here. So, Okami, nice gank there from Pharaoh as he picks up the Haste Rune. In the bottom lane, meanwhile, Moon Queen getting chased down, Hook back in. Comet Stun goes through, actually. She might be okay. Last auto attack from Rhapsody, no, we'll finish her off. Moon Queen tried to throw the Moonbeam at the second to get the stun, but instead left her just enough range for Rhapsody to get the last auto attack off. I think it would have happened either way. I'm pretty sure that Moon Queen had no way of getting out of there. no matter what she did. Dev hooking the creep, because, hey, why not? As he's going for Steam Boots early on. No Blood Chalice on him, which is fine. But, I don't know, I might have liked to see the little more aggressive item, especially because they are getting so many kills. And he's using mana at such a high rate that Blood Chalice would be very helpful. Top lane, meanwhile, Drunken Master going to jump on top of this Pharaoh, has the Untouchable, and actually doesn't. Sorry, he's level 6, but doesn't have it. Anyway, Stagger going to help finish him off. Now he's going to try to run through the tower. Going to have off the health pot, and he will live. I think he might have died if he hadn't done that. At the very least, he would have gotten extremely close, and the issue is he is now out of regen, so going to have to be very careful in this lane until he gets some more fairy to himself. And maybe, in fact, just going to back all the way off, head back to base. Meantime, Moon Queen has gotten a short respite from the doom that has been constantly thrown her way. As both Rhapsody and Devour were out of the lane for a second. Middle lane, back to that. 310 GPM on this Magnus. He is now taking the advantage. Regen will be bottled up by Okami. And he's going to eat a Lava Surge right there, but obviously doesn't care too much. Going to drop the health field, actually. And Eruption getting channeled. Needs to stop the sides. Yes, there we go. Song of the Sea will stop the Eruption. So nice attempt there from Epic Slacker to turn it around, but not quite enough to do it. He perhaps should have gotten himself into the trees as opposed to just up the hill. And Okami really with the Song of the Sea at the last second. I mean, that did not have very much time before the Eruption would have gone off, and he very possibly could have gotten a kill. Instead, it is 7-2, and Okami going to take the lead back in that middle lane, just over 300 gold per minute, 315 now, and Epic Slacker at 250. Pharaoh rotating middle as well, has the Wrath of the Pharaoh, so perhaps looking to set up something on bottom and create some space for this Moon Queen, who is still level 5. And Magnus is here as well, so after taking the death, looks like they're going to really look to try to stop something here. Hook back actually on the Moon Queen, and she's going to take the death. Yes, last attack from Rhapsody will finish her off. Wrath of the Pharaoh comes through, and it will stop the Rhapsody ultimate, but they will be able to kill Devour right off the bat. They get the counter kill on Epic Slacker, though, and Rhapsody's somehow going to live. So it ends up being a 2-for-1. They're also going to lose the Ophelia minion, as... No, that's Parasite, excuse me, not Ophelia. Parasite taking a whole bunch of damage, gets the leech off, but really not going to be able to do too much else. This Rhapsody as the dance floor is way too powerful, but, I mean... They brought 5 for that gank, and they went 1 for 2. I don't know, man. Okami going to catch out Parasite here as well. He has no creeps. Okami has a Shell Surf up in a couple of seconds. We'll be able to use it right here. Leech goes through, but he doesn't care. Song of the Sea is off. Didn't get the last auto attack, because now Parasite's a little bit too fast. He will be able to get into a creep here, and they might be able to turn this, actually. No Shell Surf available for Okami, and he's going to have to run the hell out of here. Has a take cover available. Double Damage Rune is bottom, and he's going to have to bottle it up. Has a Shell Surf. Is he going to be able to get to it? Yes! Barely getting away. Pharaoh Rocket can come through, and it's not going to be enough to kill him. Parasite looking for something, and he's not going to have enough range for it, even if he pops out of the creep and throws the leech. He's got to take cover, so Bubble's just barely going to survive, and I mean, things are not going super great for this Legion side. I guess it's lucky that Parasite didn't die in that engagement, but I mean, Okami probably should have died there. And in the meantime, Probusk has just been free-farming top. Like, there has been no issue with him. He's been able to freely CS all he wants, up to 470 gold per minute. I mean, you look at him right now, Blood Chalice on top of Ghost Marchers and Mystic Vestments. I assume he's saving up for a Soul's Bulwark, and he's going to probably look to get aggressive a little bit earlier than he did last game on that Dark Lady, as Drunken Master is definitely a more mid-game oriented hero than TDL is. But I mean, most things in this game right now are coming up Dawn. And Telechubbies with their backs against the wall already, down 1-0 in this series. Have fallen behind with a fairly terrible laning phase. And I mean, their recovery potential in the short term is pretty low. In the long term, it's kind of great. They do have Moon Queen. The issue is, are they able to do anything about this? And here comes the face hug, so Bubble is going to get jumped, as the Wild Hunter obviously doing a lot right there. Magnus with the stun, and will be followed up on quite nicely, so They managed to pick off Okami and slow him down, but still at 280 gold per minute, so he's not having a bad time by any means. And Devour and Rhapsody looking for something onto this Moon Queen. They're trying to set up a kill. I don't think that they know MQ, or they know the people are here, but they really don't have the angle for the hook. Actually, no, we'll just hit the creep. MQ obviously now knows that they're there, so they might as well just back off. This time Mag was going to pick up a rune in the bottom lane, and what did he get? Regen. Bad. Useful. 4-man gank can be set up here in the bottom lane under this Rhapsody Dev combination, and we'll see if they can do the same thing they did last time. Wrath of the Pharaoh is available, and he is here, but obviously the Ward of Sight spotting all sorts of people out. It is in range of that Rev, so nice counter there from Andro. And middle lane, in fact, Robust finding anyone involved. Anyway, hook onto Moon Queen there. Very well done from Labyrinth, and nothing that MQ can do about that. Meantime, Wrath of the Pharaoh in middle onto Tempest, actually, and he'll die right off the bat. But a 2-man kill field. We'll see if they can turn this around at all. Parasite in the front lines, and the Wild Hunter looking for something. And Dev trying to land a hook, but doesn't really have the angle for it. Could throw it blind, has no vision up the hook, up the hill, of course. Magma's eating his regen. So he's going to be nice and full for the next engagement. Still has Eruption. And in fact, Face Hug also still available, so the only cooldown used there was the Wrath of the Pharaoh. And looks like Legion not super interested in continuing to take that fight. As they picked off Tempest, and they feel like that's good enough. Hook back onto Magnus, actually, but he will just Lava Surge away. They tried to time the Song of the Sea perfectly, but couldn't quite do so. And now Tempest coming right back in the middle lane, and they're going to continue to push this out. Tier 1 tower going to fall here in favor of the Hellborn. That will mark their second tower of the game as they took the short lane tower. And off to the side, Magnus kind of just walking in. As he's going to Lava Surge up the cliff and will be okay. Wild Hunter Parasite just running away. Really hard to deal with that, of course, because you need physical damage to kill it. In the meantime, Andromeda going to get caught out a little bit by the Shell Surf, and he's going to die pretty quickly. So where it's tough to be Andro, where you're kind of slow, you only can stun one person, hook back not going to connect. And Probust with the ultimate, actually, Moon Queen ultimate going to stop him. Rhapsody not doing too much, will be cancelled as well with the Wrath of the Pharaoh coming in. 2-man Tempest Hole immediately cancelled as the Hellfire was already up. And there go 2-man in the Mummy Walls as well. Pharaoh trying to get the hell on out of here. Magnus is silenced out. Looks like he will die. A couple auto attacks will travel with him, but it's not going to be quite enough. And Magnus going to survive, so it ends up being a pretty great fight for the Legion side once again, as they lose the Tempest ultimate on the Hellborn team. They still lose Probusk, and they don't kill anybody on the Hellborn team after they manage to take out Andro. So definitely a 1-for-1 trade they'll take. Legion side supports for the opposing team's short lane carry, as well as a Tempest Hole that's not going to be up for now 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Which is going to give them some carte blanche to farm their woods, to possibly push a tower, and I wouldn't mind if they did that, I think. They need to gain some map control here. I mean, they have no tier 1 towers down, and they've got Parasite, who pushes pretty well. And look at the mid tower, about 3/4, bottom tower hasn't been touched, and top tower is at about 2/3, so any one of those 3 towers could be the focus of their aggression. But I would like to see a little bit of a group up here. Moon Queen missing CS in the middle lane, perhaps just fearing the initiation from Bubbles. But McKinnon, 175 gold per minute on the Moon Queen. And they're stacking Ancients here, which is fine, but Moon Queen's not going to be able to take these for like 10 minutes. She's going to try to now. She doesn't have multi-strike. She does not have a Whispering Helm. I'm not really sure what the plan is here. Like, they need to guarantee that MQ gets all of these last hits, because she needs a Whispering Helm, like, now. And MQ will use the Moon Gleam to finish off one of them. Yeah, so they're just giving all this farm to Moon Queen. Rocket nearly actually killed that one. So, that's fine. They're going to help her do that. And then she'll get some farm up and she'll get some levels. only level 8 as well, the third highest level on our own team. Bubbles gonna get spotted out here. Can't port to the Shell Surf as she gets stunned during the whole duration, and actually Magnus not even get credit for the kill. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Splock gonna die as he got caught out. Not really sure what happened there, but hey, went back enough to see him die. That's the important part, right? And this tier 1 tower in the bottom lane will be focused by Devour and Rhapsody, it looks like. And it is already below half-life. So even if they don't kill it, they can certainly get it pretty close to being dead. And I think they actually can kill it here if they focus it appropriately. Devour going to pull the creeps into the woods, and this will be a dead tier 1.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
All tier 1 towers down in favor of the Hellborn once again. And they're up about 10k or 9.5k gold, 6.5k experience at 15, 16 minutes into this game. So, I mean, the thing that's got to be most worrying for Telechubbies is A, Moon Queen has no farm. B, Parasite, despite the fact that he didn't gank all that much, also doesn't have too much farm. Now, Magnus did just pick up a portal key. That's going to help him out a ton. Andromeda's also hit level 6. And they're basically just playing the guard Moon Queen game here. But now they have a PK on Magnus. Yeah, they need to go do something more aggressive with it. And it looks like they're going to try to drop bottom. As Bubbles is here, but there's a Word of Sight spotting them out. So Okami should know this is happening. He's going to get silenced out, actually, before he can port to the Shell Surf, so he's going to be in a lot of trouble all of a sudden. So I'm going to see not doing too much, but a beautiful hook from Devour. And he will be okay. That's what team fights, that's what team support is there for. Meantime, Tempest pushing the top lane once again. He does have his Astrolabe along with his Ring of the Teacher and Steam Boots. Kind of would have preferred to see... Yeah, he might have missed a stun there, actually. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and ask him. Would have preferred to see Plated Greaves, but Steam Boots are fine. Legion side are going to push the bottom tower with a portal key. Devour going to jump on top of Magnus. He'll be silenced out. Kelfield going to help finish him off. And Tempest looking for an ultimate here. Will, in fact, use it onto 2. Hook back from Devour, not getting anyway. They still get 3 kills. Parasite and Moon Queen the only ones to survive that, as they really didn't go in at all. I'm going to port back, and Parasite will just head right back into the woods. Obviously, Word of Sight did spot him out. And Okami perhaps looking for the chase on him, but no portal key quite yet. I don't think they'll be able to catch him, as he's going to try to leap over the cliff with the face hug. Yep, or the infest, I mean. And the Vagabond leader with Undead Warriors, so I guess that would camp was stacked, and weirdly so. Hellborn side with a nice gank and play there. And they will turn that into a bot tier 2 tower push, up 15-7, and this is just going to further increase their gold lead. I mean, they're down 0-1, so Telechubbies is facing the loser's bracket right here, but I would not be surprised to see this game conceded relatively soon. I mean, I don't see them coming back from it. It seems...
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Like, the only way that's going to happen is if this game goes on for another hour, basically. Because Moon Queen's farm is just so bad. Like, she's got nothing. And she has no space. The Hellborn are super aggressive. This is where they're going to be the strongest. Probus goes at nearly 500 gold per minute. They're going to take a Kongor here, and they're going to turn that into another tier 2 tower kill. And, I mean, they may not be able to take high ground quite yet, but they can clear the tier 2s pretty easily, and by the time that happens, it might give them the gold that they need to take high ground. So, I don't anticipate Dawn letting their foot off the pedal at any point in the next 10 minutes plus. They're basically going to go all out aggression.
Kongor has been slain.
And Tempest ultimately back up in just over a minute, which is just enough time for them to push the middle lane. Top tower will be defended. They actually get the tower kill, despite 2 heroes being here. And ultimate onto the heavy ballista because Splock is incited on that Parasite. He's going to have some trouble now getting the hell out of here. And he's in fact not going to get the hell out of here. Drops the face hug, but Labyrinth's still going to get the kill. The Rot helps.
Massacre!
So Parasite getting picked off there. Magnus finishing off this Dragon Master here, but it's taking him a pretty long time, and Rhapsody might actually see him. As yes, Word of Rev goes down, but he will port key away, so he'll be just fine. Devour, Hook not going to connect, as he guessed and guessed wrong. Epic Slacker going to be just fine. Still at 275 gold per minute, so he's, again, not having a particularly bad game, and he did okay in the middle lane this time. The issue is, there's nothing around him. I mean, like, if your Magnus is farming 274 gold per minute and he's the third highest farmer on your game, that's fine. It's not great, but that's fine. If he's the highest farmer on your team, then that's really awful. And Rap's going to drop a lane ward here in the top lane. Obviously going to provide lots of vision. So, yeah, Telechubbies not looking great here. Yes, you can indeed bite a Bliss with Dev. Obviously, it is immune to magical damage, but Dev ult is physical, hence why you can use the Dev ult to also go through Shrunken Heads and magic immunities of various sorts. Drunken Master gonna get caught out a little bit here, drops the Untouchable though, and basically takes no damage as a result. So, he will be... Actually, didn't even drop the Untouchable. He just took no damage, because he's got a Soul's Bulwark and Mystic Vestments. So Bulwark, Vestments, and Shrunken Head up on this Shrunken. It's going to be real hard to kill him, now that they have the token. And of course he has the token. But the token going to allow them to push the tier 2 tower, so no huge surprise there. That's pretty much exactly what I figured was going to happen. Parasite in the background, sort of trying to do something. Gets stunned out with the Glacial Blast. 3-man Lava Surge stun in the background though. And Devour looking for an ultimate somewhere, and there's the hook back onto Moon Queen, so she did drop the ultimate, but she will be in trouble. Mummy Wall's there, actually a 3-man Tempest Hole as Epic Slacker dies right off the bat. They do finally kill Rapsy in the background, but the rest of the Legion side getting cleaned up here. Parasite going to be forced out of the creep, and he's going to die as well. Ends up being a genocide. And, yeah, they're calling GG's here, so... Telechubbies not looking super great in this game either, I think. They're a decent team, maybe a mid-tier diamond team, or a mid-tier gold team, excuse me, not a mid-tier diamond team. Maybe a mid-tier gold team, maybe a little bit below, but Dawn, one of the best teams in diamond, and in gold. I keep thinking diamond, I don't know why. Dawn, one of the best teams in the gold division, so, and just, they showed it. Probus, very, very, very good player, and a great pickup for this Dawn team, and he has really allowed them to transition from being a good team to possibly one of the better teams in competitive HoN. And that'll do it for this series then, as Dawn takes it 2-0.